Hey guys, it's Gamer Ahmer here. So today I'm actually at my buddy's house and we're gonna go ahead and backlight this pretty awesome Gameboy Color. So I have this kit right here. I have a new shell, new buttons and everything else. So let's see how it turns out. So as we get started here on this Gameboy Color mod, we actually have to go ahead and unscrew everything to go ahead and separate the older shell that we are no longer using, and that will eventually just be given away or thrown out for anyone else who may actually need it. Then of course you have to go ahead and unscrew some of the inner bits of this Gameboy Color. So once you take out just a few screws, which you'll need some of the actual parts for. Some of these are tri-wing screws, so you'll actually need a specific bit. Of course, everything just comes out with that ribbon cable right there, and it's easily attachable for the new shell and the new mod, the new kit that actually comes with everything. So we no longer actually need this one, the older shell. Just go ahead and set that one aside. Just put some of the screws back in so that we don't get some of the older screws and the newer screws mixed up, as some might have actually had a little bit of rusting. Then we'll use that newer screen right there. So it actually came with two screens. So we have that plastic one and then that glass one. So I'm going to go ahead and use the glass one. Here we have to go ahead and actually fit the backlit screen onto here with that ribbon cable. So it's always good to try and figure out where it actually goes first before you go ahead and actually damage anything. It's pretty simple with the ribbon cables on how that actually works, and you just have to mess around with it to see which way that it bends. So this is all pretty much the easy part here, is just taking some things apart, putting some things together, and just kind of prepping it before you actually have to put it in that housing shell, because that's the part that actually takes a lot. So right here, this set actually did come with some spacers to hold the screen in place so that it doesn't move around. So that part is actually one of the more difficult parts that you'll find in this video, as they actually, when they pulled apart, they had these little ridges on there that didn't want to set them in correctly. So we had to actually file them down, and it took several tries and several times. And then once you just put all of these ribbon cables back together, there's just a couple that you have to worry about. And those spacers really give it a difficult time, as they just didn't want to go in place right away, and it took several times of actually filing down that little point that was on there from when we broke them apart. Of course, then once you get everything flattened out, you just start screwing it all back together, and it fits in there pretty flush, so you don't have to worry about anything too difficult with that. And then once you get everything screwed on down, it just makes it a lot simpler, a lot easier to go ahead and put everything on the front part together. So once it's all flattened down, screwed down pretty well, the shell just fits on there really well. You just go ahead and make sure everything's clamped down. You have to put those side buttons and everything back on there. There's one at the top. Just make sure everything on the side and everything lines up. So that is pretty simple. Of course, everything works. There's that little touch part at the top there, so you do have to make sure that that actually lines up. Just add all the screws back again. I went ahead and used the brand new screws so that I didn't have to worry about anything being rusted or damaged. And then everything just fits pretty well, and it just looks a lot nicer already. So I'm actually really excited to see what it finally looks like. This is actually a really cool shell mod that I went ahead and used. This one actually can glow in the dark, so that is a added bonus right there. Just have to make sure everything's tightly screwed down so that there isn't any lifting or anywhere in there that can get anything inside of the case. And then of course we have this cool little sticker that it comes with. Now it doesn't come with one for the battery cover part, but it still has an imprinted logo on it. So you do have to go ahead and be careful when you put on that screen, as you have to start peeling away at the new screen's actual film cover on there. Once you pull that off, the new screen just fits right on top. You'll just pull the final film off, and then there you go. So as you can tell, this process was very demanding as there was so much stuff that you had to take into consideration when actually putting this together. So it's pretty easy to just take all of these screws out and take apart the shell and everything else. But of course those spacers trying to get this screen together was a pain. Luckily it did come with some spacers though, and it came with everything that you needed. I had to actually buy 2 different parts to this. I bought the outer case with all of these buttons, and it came with some of the screws that you'll need. And then of course we had all of the screen parts, and then this glass right here, I chose to use that one instead of the plastic. But it was just so crazy as all of this stuff kept getting underneath of this screen. There was hair and all kinds of other little things. So if you do not like all of the time that this would take, I would definitely not recommend that, but it wasn't too difficult. So if you are pretty meticulous and you can get this done rather easily, then this is definitely something that you should try out, as this thing looks really great. I'll have to get some close-up shots for you guys, and this is just really awesome as it looks so much better than the regular Game Boy Color. And I'm glad that I actually did this mod, even though it was so tedious. Well, I didn't really do it, so my buddy actually did this for me. I just kind of assisted. So I'll go ahead and drop his information below so that you can check out his channel. And of course, I'm sitting in his awesome game room. So thank you guys for watching. Make sure you like and subscribe. Go ahead and check out my other videos and stay tuned for more.